instructed, step up to the podium, address the board president only. You may address one or more topics in a time allotted. Individual employees, parents, or children should not be identified by name, title, position, grade, or building. I have to stress that no teacher's name should be used, a child's name should be used. I have to stress that. Okay, come speak.
Hello. I would like to bring to the board's attention the coaching issue at hand. Colleen and I are currently the varsity cheerleading coaches and have been for the past 11 years. Recently, we were made aware of the fact that a teacher in the district wanted to take over the program and will be putting in a letter of intent to coach the varsity team. According to the teacher's contract, we are aware that teachers in district are entitled to their first choice in extracurricular activities. However, we ask that you take our coaching time span and investment in this program into consideration. Upon speaking with the teacher, I told her that I understood the teacher's contract and I respected her rights. I asked her, though, to please allow us to coach for one more year so that we may say our goodbyes and so that our team can have a transitional year to adjust properly. She refused to let us leave gracefully and informed the athletic office that she would be taking it now anyway. The following week, the teacher held a meeting for all girls interested in cheerleading the following year. She had yet to be appointed for the position, but held a meeting regardless. Being a teacher myself, I understand and respect the protection the teachers' union provides. However, if someone has done a job for an extended period of time without problems or issues, the person should be allowed the opportunity to bow out gracefully and should be afforded the opportunity of a final season to do so. A coach in good standing who has been loyal to the district for 11 years should not be blindsided and removed simply because someone else wanted the job. Whether union member, teacher, coach, administrator, board member, or parent, it is up to us to model appropriate behavior as we are leaders in the community. Taking a job from someone simply because you want it, yet refuse to pay them the respect of time for closure or honesty about intentions, I do not consider appropriate behavior to model for community's kids. In closing, we are asking for two things. First of all, that you consider the uniqueness of the situation and grant us one more year to go out with dignity. After that year, we would step down gracefully and the teacher can do as she wishes with the program. Secondly, I believe a change needs to be made. This has happened before and it will happen again. Teachers have a union to protect them, but should not abuse the union to get what they want when morally it is wrong. Coaches in the district were hired for a reason and needed to be interviewed in order to get the jobs they got. They are not random people, and although they may not deserve all the protection and rights that teachers get, they should have some protection in circumstances such as this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to follow up. I mean, she introduced the situation. I'm just going to follow up a little bit about the rule and propose that maybe for future coaches, it may be discussed that it's possibly changed so that veteran coaches are backed a little bit more since we do provide so much commitment to your district. So when the situation came about, I started inquiring with other coaches from other districts that what their policies were on this issue. And the general consensus that I received was that in these situations, an interview is at least conducted. Being that it is a varsity sport, districts want what's best, the best and most qualified coach for the position. Varsity sports are extremely important to athletes. Connectwood should take pride in their athletics and want the programs to be the best they can be for the sole reason that their student athletes will benefit from it. If you allow any teacher to automatically take priority in any coaching position, you leave the door open to the destruction of some pretty amazing sports teams at Connectwood. Consequently, you stop encouraging your students to participate in these sports, and lastly, you close the door to potential scholarships for these students. As it stands, no matter how qualified or not qualified a teacher is, as long as the union backs him or her, he or she is automatically entitled to that position. I will not talk badly about the other candidate in this situation. I don't agree with the way she handled the situation. That's just my opinion, and it really doesn't matter in this situation. That being said, because of the union contract, our dedication to your district and your athletes will not even be considered. 11 years of commitment will just be thrown away without even a second thought. It just doesn't seem right to me. So I ask you to reconsider the rule, if not just for Lauren and I, but for future coaches or your athletic programs. Veteran coaches should have your support as well. I propose that you interview the teachers in these situations and make sure that they are worthy of the coaching your athletic program before just removing someone that's dedicated so much time. Before you appoint a coach for this position, please look further into our situation and do a little research. Please speak with the athletic director, conduct an interview, and appoint the most qualified coach in the end. Thank you.
I have a question. What happens, say, this is just a random question. You stay on for an extra year, then what happens to the students?
Well, we want the extra year for the girls. I mean,
There's always new girls, though.
There's going to be new girls, but every year that we've coached, it's a learning process. I mean, we self-reflect each year. We look at what we did right, what we did wrong. With cheerleading, I know that there's a lot more to it than most people know, but the rubric that they're judged on takes a lot of research and a lot of time that we put in at home to learn how to better their routine so that they can succeed. And for the new coach stepping in, we'd like to help her and transition her into those new rubrics. She might have experience, but she doesn't have the experience we have, you know, from 11 years coaching and taking these girls to national competitions year after year and receiving, you know, national rankings, top 10 rankings with them. So we want to help her, but we just want one more year so that we can provide closure for them and for us, and then transition her in so that she can then lead the program for the next 11 years until someone else decides they want to take it over.
Okay, I'm going to give you a scenario
Okay.
that happened years ago. Something similar happened, and it really reaches peak in the summer. So the board decided to pay the other coach and continue with the coaches they had, and everyone was happy. The next year, the story's not over yet. The next year, these coaches then stepped aside and let the teacher and the district coach. All the kids quit. So at the end of the day, the year of the kids that quit, they had nothing to do in their senior year.
I actually am aware of that.
There's two sides to this story.
I was one of those girls that actually stepped up when all those other girls quit. I not only coached for your district, but I was part of your district. And I'm aware of that situation, and I would never advise our girls to do that because I don't think it's in the benefit of the program or themselves. Like, I don't feel like they should be here solely for us, but I do think that we built this program for them to succeed. And they will succeed years after us. So I'm not saying we're the all-star coaches that are going to be the only coaches that will have, you know, your program do well. But I do think that we deserve and they deserve one more year with us so we can transition them into a new coach and prepare them for that so that they will be able to stay on and succeed in future years. I mean, I can't say what they will or won't do. I don't think that they would all just quit because they love it too much, and we would never, you know, recommend that they do that. But can't speak on their behalf. Maybe they can speak, but we do everything we can to make sure that that didn't happen ever again.
Thank you.
Yep.
So I started cheering when I was 6 years old, and Pano was actually my coach for CYFO, and that's like when the CYFO program was just starting and like it was just building. And now that I've been on varsity for 4 years, well, 3 years, sorry, but I am so grateful to have her through my whole career, basically. The only years that I didn't have her were middle school and junior varsity, and even junior varsity when I was on in 9th grade, we still practiced with varsity and we still like communicated with them, and they were always there to support you and always there to say what was right and what was wrong and help you out and always give you advice to do new things. And just having that experience is something that's so indescribable because you become so close with that person. Like, I've become so close with the coaches, and I know there's girls up there that have been on varsity. This will be their 5th year. Their senior year will be their 5th year on varsity. And to have your coach leave your last year is just heartbreaking. It's not only the moral standards behind it that it shouldn't really be allowed, but it's the emotional connection you have. It's so important that you have even that transition year to know that it's your last year. Because it's so heartbreaking to know that you can't do something that you've been working so hard for. That you've been working with your coach since 8th grade, and you get to 11th grade and you're waiting for your final year to go out on the mat and give everything you have because it's your last year, and you can't do it. And I personally this year, a week before we went to nationals, I tore my ACL, so I couldn't compete. But the coaches helped me through that so much. Not only as just a coach, but as a friend too. They were there to support me and there to give me advice and keep me grounded. And it's just so important to have that connection with your coach through those years. And I feel like if a new coach comes in right now, especially for the girls that are still on the team, I'm graduating, but they're gonna do it because they can't not do it. You're so in love with the sport, how can you not do it? But it's just, what would it be like if the coach you had for 4 years was there? You're always gonna wonder and you're always gonna want that because that's what you're used to. And it would be so unfair to not give the girls the right to have what they want for their last year. Or even the younger girls, the freshmen and the sophomores, to have that transition, to know that it's their last year and accept that they're gonna have a new coach next year. And change comes, but sometimes it needs to be gradual. It's not so static sometimes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I just want to remind everybody they have 3 minutes. I could give you a little bit extra, but it's 3 minutes.
I believe that it's not necessary as of this year to remove the position of coaching from the varsity cheerleading team that have worked 10 years to earn the spot. I do not see a benefit of changing the coaches, and there's no way predicting it will be a positive thing for the program. And the Connecticut cheerleaders will continue to grow and will not quit, and they'll represent Connecticut High School at nationals with the connections and relationships that the current coaches have built with the program that runs nationals that we go to, and all the connections they have with coaches of local schools that we compete with. And it's very hard for outsiders to understand how much pressure, work, and care is involved, and it is essential for the team that the coaches stay in their position. At least, I'm sorry, this is.
It's okay, take your time.
Sorry, I lost track. Spot.
Just speak from your heart.
Yeah.
Don't look at the paper, just speak from your heart.
Well, I'm a senior and I'm graduating, so I'm not even going to be the future of this program anymore. But I'm still here because I care for the girls that are coming up to succeed the way I'm going to, because I can really thank my coaches that I've had for so long and the experience they have, that I made my college cheerleading team, which is actually a very exciting thing for me, and they've won nationals twice for college. And I just want the girls that are still on the team to have the coaches that have been making past girls succeed like that, and at least for closure, like they were saying, basically. And I don't think that changing the coaches right this year with not that much warning is going to be great for the team, especially the pressure that cheerleading already has, that it just became a sport this year in section 11.
That's correct.
And I think that it's just going to be a lot for the girls with all these changes so much at once. And we want Connecticut to keep looking good through cheerleading, and we want to keep expanding, especially with how much it's not appreciated like other sports in the school. So,
Thank you.
Where are you going to school?
Towson University.
Good. Good luck.
Thank you.
I wasn't one of the girls, great, I was one of those girls that stay around, so just wanted to make that known.
Are you still going for the cheerleaders?
Yep.
I wasn't planning to come up here today. I was going to sit back and just listen because I've known both these coaches since they were elementary students. My daughter cheered at the same time as them, and then I have two that they coached. I went to nationals 6 years with them. I feel for the other seniors, the girls that won't have them as coaches, but to let the two coaches go out the way it looks like they may is just shameful for a teacher that teaches sportsmanship to our students to just come and take something that these girls, with the time that they put into cheering, coaching, 18 years, and somebody just walks up and says, I want it, like a spoiled brat. You have to find it in your heart to know that they did this with their heart and soul. I watched them grow up. I watched them coach through college, through marriage, through buying houses, through having babies. They stuck it out for 18 solid years. They deserve the year to go out the way they want. They deserve their last chance at nationals. They deserve to finish what they started. And that's all I can say.
Thank you.
Hi, I've had the opportunity to work with both Lauren and Colleen since the CYFO program that I was involved in. Lauren came to me when I met her back then and asked me a few years later to actually be treasurer for varsity. So I've been working with both Lauren and Colleen, and I truly have to say that their level of loyalty and commitment to the program has been something far beyond what I think any parent or you on the board or anybody is able to really see. The time and dedication that goes into it, the program that they do run, the girls that they have on the team I've also worked with since some of them started with the CYFO program, then became coaches themselves under the direction of their own two coaches. So they too will eventually move on to do this in our community. And this is what it is about. It's about our community and what we want. We want what's best for our community. We want what is best for our children. We want to teach them about loyalty and commitment. We want to teach them about how they can move on into their own futures and bring that type of person that they want to be. And they're learning it right here from two young ladies that have been involved in the program since they too were involved in the program, and now they've moved up and they've run the program and they're asking for one more year. I don't really think that it would be fair for us to not give them that opportunity. I do understand the teacher's contract and I respect that, but I don't think they're asking for too much. And I think if we can just show them that, and everybody else that also coaches that isn't a teacher in the district, that they too have rights. And they're just standing up and asking for something that they believe in. And they believe in it with their whole heart. And so do the girls, all the girls up there right now that are here. We're all here because it's in their hearts. They're bringing it to you and they're asking you to just listen and just consider it. And maybe, we can make changes. Life is about change. We all have to accept them. And sometimes it's not always what we want or what we feel might be perfect, but as time goes on, we do accept it. And this might be one of those changes that we may have to make at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I've been on this team since I was in 8th grade. I was in the first 8th graders, about a couple of them other ones. I can't even talk. And I've been on this team. Last year I did not do it for personal school reasons, but I was really looking forward to being able to spend my last year in high school with them and be able to see them and hang out with all the girls and just have my last year be good. Being with them since 8th grade, Like, I've found more of myself as a person. They pushed me to the limit, and they pushed me beyond, and I'm very grateful for that. They've made me more than I could expect. And honestly, I don't know, I probably would not do the cheer team this year if they're not coming back, because the connection all the girls have with them, there's no other sport that's going to have that. We trust them with everything. When I went through a hard time, I went to them, I talked to them, they helped me through it, and I don't know what I would do without them. We have such a deep connection, and I just really hope you guys can see them.
Thank you.
I think I'm the last cheerleader.
Hi everybody, I've been a resident of the community for a long time, and I'm a high school teacher. I've been a teacher for 40 years, and I've been a high school coach for 40 years. So I can look at this from a few different perspectives. I put 4 children through the Connecticut schools, and I've watched very closely what Colleen and Lauren do with these girls, and as a teacher and as a coach my whole life, I know what the kids need. The kids need more than textbook instruction. They need somebody that actually cares about them. They need somebody that's going to take a real interest in their lives. And the more people from the community that get directly involved with the kids' lives, to the extent that these two get involved, and I've seen it firsthand. I know exactly what they do. And yes, I watched them grow up as cheerleaders in the program, and I watched them become coaches and first find their way through the whole coaching thing and what it involved. And then they really are professional coaches. While they're a lot younger than me, they know how to coach. And they learn the important things about coaching. And they took the Connecticut program from its early stages to the point where now they're going to become a competitive varsity sport for the first time. And they've done it by making strong connections with the kids. And if you get a chance to watch what they do from the moment they begin the routines and all the time they put in to actually putting the routine together, to the point where they take the kids on the road. And I've been to Florida to watch their competitions, and I see what happens when they're there together. You'd understand that the more people we can put like them in touch with our kids in the Connecticut schools, the better the whole community is going to be. Because from this small group of cheerleaders is going to come a larger community of good people. And that's what we want. We want our kids to become good people, whether they're good cheerleaders or good baseball players or good science research students or good essay writers. We want the kids to become good people. And I think more than anything else, that's what these 2 girls do. They teach the young people of our community to grow up right and to do things right and to become good people. So I don't say we keep them on just for 1 more year. I say we keep them on until the time comes when they're ready to step down, and it's because they do such a good job. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi. I competed on the varsity cheerleading team for 3 years, from my sophomore year until the end of my senior year. I just finished my junior year of college at Johnson & Wales University.
Go girl.
And I feel like both of those coaches taught me way more than just cheerleading. They set up community service for us. I went out and I did all of that, and I competed, and I learned so much about teamwork. And I've gained a lot of qualities that are going to help me much further in my future. Things I can put on my resume to help me further my career. And I feel like that's so important. And being the situation, the incoming coach may not necessarily teach those same things to incoming members of the team. So I feel like that's just something that should definitely be considered.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to thank you for letting us go first. go home and go to bed, because you have school in the morning. Thank you for those of you that were waiting patiently to let us speak. And I wasn't one of the ones that quit. I was one of the ones that stuck around in that situation, so that's why I passed that on. I don't want anyone thinking I'm a quitter.
Thank you.
All you girls that came out tonight, I think that's very, very nice that you came to support your mom. Good job, good job.
Yeah, you want to give them a minute, or we just keep going now?
Everyone has their time.
Mr. Felice, you have something to say tonight?
Yeah, just a couple of things.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. We talked before about the modules on, actually it was the last meeting, I believe. You guys talked about having the modules. We've been talking about them all year, as Nick said. Actually, I heard at the last meeting there was talk of hundreds of thousands of dollars spent on redoing these modules. And I kind of liken that to a surgeon cutting off your arm and using Band-Aids to fix it. We really need to stop using the modules. And as the Board of Education, you are supposed to direct the superintendent on how to distribute this stuff. So I'm urging you to do that in the next 2 weeks, into the next meeting. Get rid of the modules. The teachers have spoken. They said they don't want it. The parents, last meeting, all came up and told you that they don't want it. The 75% opt-out says that they don't want it. So please, as a Board of Ed, get together, whatever you got to do, that vote, whatever you have to do, but get rid of the module as a primary source. The other thing that was also talked about at the last meeting was the disposal of items. It was actually talked about a couple of times, but the last time we talked about was the Promethean boards. This time there's a refrigerator on the steps on the loading dock of OBMS. And I did mention to you back in, I don't know, February, March, that there are some boys that go around and they scrap this stuff for beautification projects in the community. So I'd like to know if those boys, I believe they're Boy Scouts, can go pick that up and scrap it. Otherwise, we're just throwing it out again and they're just sitting in the garbage pail getting wasted. Or should I have them go through the garbage pails and do that?
No, it's actually, it's in a scrap container and the district receives compensation when that's disposed.
Okay, because when I read the agenda yesterday, it said that it was sitting on the loading dock.
Yeah, until we say we can dispose of it, then we put it in the scrap container.
Okay. All right. The 5th grade benchmark test. It was discussed on 510 by Brad Lindell. Oh, sorry, I can't say names. And they were asked if the parents were aware that this test was being given. Were the parents notified? I know in a Facebook group they were, but did the school notify the parents about this test that's being given and that it was considered a benchmark test?
No.
Why not? Why aren't we telling parents about a test for these kids that they're not going to see, that we don't know the questions, and that don't help our kids at all? Why are we not notifying them?
We're discussing all different options right now, and we haven't made a decision either way.
Okay, because the last meeting you said you are giving this test, correct?
We are looking forward to giving this test, yes.
Okay, but you're not going to tell the parents about it?
We're in discussions right now on all different topics with all the different stakeholders.
Okay, so that doesn't really answer my question, but okay. Finally, I have a couple of things. Just let me know when my 3 minutes are up.
You have 31 seconds.
Okay, a lot of children, the Title I and the lack of services, someone, the CTA president, I didn't say a name, mentioned this at the 510 meeting, and that children have not received their services. I want to know if that's been fixed. Are they getting their services? I know I brought that up in January about the Title I lack of services for children, that the kids were being pulled out. And then it was told to me on 3/1 that all the teachers have been hired. While not mandated, they were built in some pretty amazing programs, and then last week it wasn't done.
Dean, can you answer the last question?
So the Title I services for our Title I buildings, all of our our instructional assistants have been hired, and were hired at that time that we spoke about. They are providing instruction for our students in both ELA and math. The challenge we have is the sub problem, that they are pulled at certain times to provide classroom, the exact number of times that that happens, but it is a concern of ours as well, and it's looking for something, you know, we're trying to, as we move forward, a lot of things have been put in place with regards to the substitute pay and substitute work and all that different, those items, so hopefully that's going to remedy it.
Okay, do you have a timeline on that, or we just hope for the best and kind of like the modules, we're just going to hope for the best? I was being facetious, I'm sorry.
I don't think hoping for the best is an option right now. I think we're working with each of our buildings to make sure that the students are getting the services that they need, but balancing that with some of the sub-challenges that we have.
Okay.
I think Governor Cuomo's going to fix it.
Oh, yes, I'm going to vote for him again. Your thing went.
Okay, Mr. Felicio, you're my last speaker.
I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I have to respond to a couple of comments that were made. One, and I think part of the frustration here, I know I'm feeling, okay, is just with the modules, just with the covering of the classes. It's like we're taking a can and just keep kicking it down the road and nothing's happening. The bottom line is, and I have to address this to one of the board members who spoke before, this CTA, since I've been president for the last 3 years, has submitted a survey to this Board of Education. Ms. Kennedy was the only member on it 3 years ago, and tonight was the first night in 3 years I've ever heard her say anything negative about the modules or Common Core. In fact, Mrs. Kennedy, okay, actually has stated at board meetings the reason Mrs. Adams was hired is because she was a quote-unquote guru of the Common Core and the modules. The fact of the matter is, under Mrs. Stodd, excuse me, it's my turn to speak. It is my turn to speak. I've waited here 4 hours to speak. That's the fact. The fact of the matter is, when Mrs. Stodd was, Dr. Stodd was here and Dr. Groveman, okay, when they left, the modules were not a priority. They were not the primary resource. In fact, quote unquote, Peggy Stives said, I don't care how you get to teaching the standards, just get there. I don't care if you use the modules, I don't care if you use this book, that book, or the other book. Just get to the standards. Our teachers appreciated that, and we're happy to teach that way. When Mrs. Adams and Mr. Middleman came in, the modules became the primary resource, period, and that's a fact. Now, a couple other quick things. Talk about the IAs. Dean, wasn't going to pick on you tonight, but I don't know how you could sit up there with a straight face and say that the IAs, okay, are providing the services they're supposed to do, okay? 2 weeks ago, I did speak at the board meeting. My teachers are telling me there's another issue that's getting kicked. The can is getting kicked. The IAs are not providing the services they've been hired to provide. They're being used to act as substitutes. So please don't sit there. There's only a couple of us here, but don't sit there and tell me and insult my intelligence by telling me they're providing services. Yes, some of them are, but many of them are not. Survey. 80% or close to said they do not want the modules, okay? You cannot have the modules here in September again. I suggest strongly that you do something between now and September 1st to get rid of the modules, or at the very least, keep them as a resource for the ones that we've invested time and money in, where teacher A says, you know, this particular module works well with my kids. Let them know from administration that they're allowed to use that. Okay, that's not a crime. We've had this discussion, and many discussions about it. Let me just please finish, with all due respect. The reason your number for number 3 question on the survey, if you read all the comments that I shared with all of you, okay, is the reason that number is only 63% for the combination of online and using the modules as a resource. I think you'd probably see an 80-20 split, but our internet here, okay, we talk about all this smart money, whatever money we were talking about before, and these grandiose plans. Our teachers are afraid to jump into the online textbook, online resources, because many, many times our system is slow, I sit there in the morning with my e-school, and I watch the wheel go around and around and around. 7 minutes into the class, I can finally do attendance. Or the internet is down like it was a few days ago. Or it just doesn't work. So I think that number, if there was some guarantees and really improvements, okay, in our online technology and ability to get on the internet, and our computer stuff, technology, okay, I think that number will be very consistent with throw the modules out, go to some type of textbook where kids and parents can go online, okay, but the modules have to go. And just one other quick thing. I'll leave it for the next meeting. Thank you. Thank you.
Do we have a second one tonight?
No, planning session.
I've been waiting 4 hours doing this. This is not a negative. I just want to make a comment. Dr. Losing made a presentation, and I've had discussion with Board of Ed members in the past. The science program that she wants to bring in here. My daughter went through Plainview OBEF page. She was part of that program. It's a wonderful program there. All right. What it does for the students, as far as learning, as far as camaraderie, it was great. Okay. What I'm going to caution the board, this is not something you can do half. Okay. It's either you don't do it or you do it, because there is a commitment. I know money was brought up. There's going to be an investment in money. You do need that full time. They have 2 full-timers there. All right, you're going to need that in order. You do need flexibility in order for students to be able to come in on their off periods. All that needs to be built in, but it is a wonderful program, and it's something I think would be a benefit to the district. So.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, we're moving on to personnel. Schedule 1. I need a motion and a second.
Motion.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to Schedule 2. Appointments, tenure, and salary changes. I need a motion and a second.
Motion.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're moving on to financial matters. Okay, so we just need a motion in a second. All right, need a motion in a second.
Motion.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're moving on to consent agenda. I just need a motion in a second. If we have time for discussion, if not, we can vote on this. Right. Okay. So I need a motion in a second. If there's a discussion,
Motion.
I'll second it. Any questions on any of these items? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I guess there is no exec session, so we're going to be moving out, adjourning this meeting.
Before we adjourn, I have a question.
Sure.
I know that it was brought up before regarding the 5th, 6th grade test, and Dean said he was going to get back to us with some information. And he said that they're working on it, but is there any additional information at this point that you can share with us, or is that something still ongoing?
We've just concluded some meetings, so I'll be forwarding information.
Okay, thank you.
Before we close, can you
I need a motion.
add Suffolk, Linda?
Yes.
Suffolk Transportation. I think they should be acknowledged for all they do, not just in Connect, where I see that they just did some scholarships, but for all they do for the Iceland community, because they do an awful lot.
I need a motion and second to close the meeting.
Motion.
I'll second it. All in favor?
I third
Good
it.
evening, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Can I ask the board if they want to go into the executive session?
No, we're not going into second.
No? I have it adjourned last.
Did my son have anything back? All right, my husband did, so I'll tell him to come get us.
Really? It's almost up.
You want to go to the back?